Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, I'm Aaron.
And I'm Cole.
And this is Two Chill Reviews.
And this week we watched The History of Future Folk.
I guess it's a overblown origin story for a bluegrass folk.
It's bluegrass folk music with space and aliens as kind of the theme.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really weird. It's an awesome backstory. What was the what did you say? It was the
just a bluegrass version of Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically just, like I said it before, it's an advertisement for the band, but it was still a really fun movie overall.
Mm-hmm. And they are very talented musicians.
Yes, actually, there's they have a bit with the main guy and his partner where when he's introducing him to music, and he just does this awesome riffs of like these really well known song like guitar solos or whatever.
Yeah,
it's just sort of
amazing banjo playing.
Yeah, it's just like a medley of all these really popular riffs. It's pretty damn impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the fingerwork these guys got.
And then I guess we should talk about, before we get into the scenes, we should kind of talk about the overall story. It would make sense.
So there's our main character is General Trias of Hondo, which is the planet he comes from, and he's traveling to Earth, and he's supposed to have released this flesh-eating virus that would kill everyone on the planet,
so that his people could inhabit the planet, because their planet was going to get destroyed by a comet.
Yeah, and he decides not to because
for the first time in his
life, he heard music, which Hondo has never had. They never discovered music. They never decided to put what do they call it? They never decided to put a bunch of sounds together to make something
artistic, something artistic, something artistic,
something like that. But yeah, instead of releasing the virus, he's devoted his, 17 years or something like that? So he devoted 17 years to try and figure out how to destroy the comet that was heading to his planet, to try and save his planet without having to kill the human race.
Because his ship had crash-landed. It had exploded in the atmosphere because it was not made for the human atmosphere.
I guess, something like that. But because of that...
But he's been to thousands of other planets, and...
Oh, okay, yeah, I guess that. But yeah, because of that, he can't get in contact with his people, which is why he can't explain what he's trying to do. So instead, they try and send this assassin, who is the second member of the bluegrass band called Future Folk, and he's the Mighty Kevin, I think.
Yes, the Mighty Kevin, who at first seems very bumbling, very silly, screws up the assassination, and ends up getting captured by General Trias, who tortures him with the beauty of music.
Mm-hmm.
It was a beautiful scene.
Yeah,
he comes in,
fun torture scenes I've ever seen.
He comes in and he's all tied up and he's like, "Oh, you won't get anything out of me. What are all these objects? You're obviously going to torture me." And he's just not talking, and he puts on a banjo. He's like, "Why aren't you saying anything? Talk to me."
And then just,
what is that thing?
He gets so freaked out by this banjo that he's like, "All right, I lied. I'm a coward. I'll tell you everything. Just please, don't hurt me." And then he
just starts playing, and this is such a look of enjoyment. I have to say, the second member, I'm not sure who his actual name is,
Their
but
actual names, I can't remember any of them.
the great Kevin has this amazing sense of enjoyment. He really played his part well.
They all did.
General Triss, I mean, he felt a bit stilted, but
I think that was supposed to be the point.
I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be the point.
That was they were both very hammy in their performances, but that's because they're aliens. So I think that was the reason why they were both really, really weird.
It was, but it was such a beautiful, like, he's learned this new thing, and so he starts playing simple songs, and then he starts ramping it up, and he starts ramping it up more, and he's like, oh no, this is too much, and starts going into complete sensory overload.
Yeah. And then, he breaks out of his, bindings and like General chops, karate chops him in the neck, and then he runs out of the basement. And then, of course, the next time he shows up, I think Trius said it. He was like he was gone 26 hours, and then he already knew how to play the guitar like a pro.
I thought it was 36 hours.
Yeah, either way, it was like only a few hours, and they were
he shows
masters of the art.
He shows up at the performance. Because General Trius has been playing banjo at a bar this entire time, and they wear these amazing spacesuits. This like a red PVC I don't know. They're just but with like buckets on their heads with little like trapezoid panels cut out. Mm-hmm. And he like even answers one time at stage, actually no, on my homeworld we didn't have buckets, so we didn't realize that
their helmets look like buckets.
Yeah. So, and he comes up, and he's like, do you want to come up? Do you want to come play? Yeah. Come up stage. Come play with me. Do you have a song that you want to play for us?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure all the songs that they sung were probably from their albums, their actual albums. But
I assume so. Do you recall what the year this movie came out was?
2012, I think, is what I saw.
2012? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I did look up on Wikipedia after. They did. The band was actually formed in 2003, which is quite a
decent amount of time.
You know. So these guys were very good.
Yeah. I'm definitely interested in checking out more of their songs or like their albums. I'll probably check them out on YouTube or something eventually. But one thing I want to note is I could tell they had enough money to buy a decent camera, like it had really good visual, but it didn't seem like they had enough money to buy a stand to carry it, because all their shots were technically shaky cam, but you could tell that they were trying to keep it as still as possible.
They did a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm. It was, you could definitely tell like someone was carrying it the entire time. But I'm pretty sure they felt like they didn't need it, or they just didn't have the money to buy a stand to keep their some of their shots still. But but I thought it was just funny that they had like really good quality video. It was just constantly moving. The only other thing I would really note is the ending. I thought was actually pretty tame for what they had going for the whole movie. It was sort of like they had this
and
whole...
it was a giant plot hole.
Yeah, it was
a massive plot hole.
Yeah, a massive plot hole. But I mean, the whole thing was a comedy, so I wasn't really too miffed about that. It was more just they had this whole action thing, I guess, in the middle, coming up to it with this third or this other assassin that comes onto the planet.
Yeah,
And he's like...
He figures out that the first assassin,
was just
Kevin,
a decoy.
was just a decoy, and when he killed him, he would think that that's all they're sending, and then they'd bring in this other guy.
Mm-hmm. But, and they dressed him up to look like, pretty sinister and stuff. He's got, like, the dark cloak and he's this gray, lizard-like...
I would say semi-reptilian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Scaly.
And strong enough to
thorns.
carry a giant brick wall to crush Trius under. But yeah, and after that, it becomes sort of a rom-com typical ending where he's got to try and or both of them have to try and like
well they kind of hinted the rom-com at the beginning,
mm-hmm.
but that's what gets the ball rolling,
I guess. Yeah.
But because while he's been on Earth, General Trius has kind of settled down,
mm-hmm. Found a wife,
had a daughter,
mm-hmm.
who is absolutely adorable.
Hondo.
Yes, she is.
I think that's his actual wife and daughter, but
probably.
I didn't actually check.
Maybe both of them were their girlfriends or something, or wives or something. Because Kevin has his own love interest, which is the weirdest romance arc I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because part of the process is that he tranks her or stuns her with his gun.
No.
And then,
first, let's get the whole story. First, he sneaks up on her after she's just gotten dressed, shoots her with a tranquilizer out through her window, crawls in, and at this point he's already wanted by the police.
Mm-hmm. Of which she's a part of. She's one of the police women that tried to arrest him earlier in the movie.
Yeah, and he got away.
Mm-hmm.
Tranks her, lays her down on her bed, makes sure she's comfortable. At this point she's awake, but she can't move. And then serenades her on the guitar for 20 minutes.
And then leaves for a bit. And then the next time they see each other is during the tango lesson. Where she's there with, I guess, her blind date or something like that.
Yeah, they hinted that she was looking for online dates and such right before he tranks her.
And then they have this really passionate tango dance.
Yeah, he's like, if you let me have this one dance, I'll let you arrest me. I won't even. And she's like, okay.
It's like, are you fucking serious? But, it's a comedy. It's a weird-ass comedy, so it's...
Yeah. And they have the most intense dancing.
Mm-hmm.
This guy can dance really well, too.
Yeah. So it was pretty awesome. But yeah, no, it was just... My only thing, was just the ending. It was... they just complete those romance arcs, and then...
And they have this... They have this subplot... Okay, they have this subplot where he works at a missile... a nuclear research center built on an old nuclear silo with an old decommissioned nuke. And his wife thinks he's a scientist, but he's actually a groundskeeper. But he has hidden some, like, plutonium or something, some glowing rods, which we assume is nuclear material.
Yeah, this is the substance he's been working on for a long time to try and blow up the comet. I think.
Yeah, by using this rocket and firing it in a series of gravity slingshots so that it'll hit this comet.
Yeah, this
which
comet is like...
is impossible.
It's
whatever.
Like hundreds of light years.
You know what?
Or hundreds of thousands or millions.
Yeah.
But it gets there in like 5 seconds.
Yeah. And during like the big climax, they're about to fire the missile, and it's like, oh no, I just did the calculations. We have to wait 3 weeks. We don't have 3 weeks. This flesh-eating virus will open up in, like
13 hours or something?
Yeah, 13 hours minus the time it took for them to drive there. It's just like, well, we have to do it anyways. Okay. But it still works. They throw it in and it's like, oh no, it won't blow up the comet unless we wait 3 weeks. But it blows up the comet anyways.
Yeah.
Yay.
I was pretty much expecting it to be pretty hokey, but it was actually turned out to be a pretty fun movie.
Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed it. I kind of expected from what you see of you know the poster, the little blurb that Netflix gives you, and the title. It's hard for me to put into words what I expected. This was pretty close.
Oh, right.
But I think this was better.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, I think that's basically it. Alright. Guess we'll see you next time. Cheers.
And then the great Kevin and his hot Latin policewoman girlfriend.
Yeah. Oh, they travel
back to Honda.
Or Hondo.
Hondo.
Because Honda is the
beep, beep.
car, yeah.